Chris, obviously with you guys already clinching the regular season title, you know who you're going to play in the WAC tournament already. What is this week kind of about? Like obviously you want to garner some momentum going into the WAC tournament. So what are you guys trying to focus on this week with one game left in the regular season?
I mean, we'll continue to have the same mantra we've had since the beginning of our practices, and it's a chance to get better. We're not trying just to maintain. We're trying to get better. Certainly every team in America is trying to tighten up their system, their play, their productivity, and maybe look to add a wrinkle or two to have it in your back pocket for the WAC tournament if need be. And we're no different. We're certainly going to be thinking about that as well. But the biggest thing is just to have sharp practices. Certainly we've been toning them down throughout the last few weeks, and we'll continue to do that. But the most important thing is that we continue to have productive practices and everybody on the same page and trying to get better both individually and collectively.
Is this a good time to get some guys some rest too with just the one game this week?
Yeah, you're almost forced to. You can't just grind them out every day all week. So we took yesterday off, and we'll get after them today, and tomorrow we'll have a shorter one. Then we're going to take a Wednesday midweek completely off of everything and let them just kind of take a deep breath and catch up on their academics and give their whole body a rest other than some treatment. But we won't do any lifting or anything required on the floor at all, basketball related. And then, get back Thursday, and then we'll have a very light practice Friday morning before we take off for Texas.
I don't know if you have looked at UTRGV at all, Coach. Obviously, Nick Dixon. You guys did a pretty good job on him in the first game here. What makes him so good? And obviously, you guys have faced those type of players too this year, like Sims. And what makes Dixon a big threat scoring-wise?
Like most of those guys, he can score at all three levels. He can shoot the three. He's big and strong enough and skilled enough to get in the mid-range and pull up and make shots, with the defender crawling all over him. And then he gets to the line at a high rate, and he can finish around the basket because of his size and his experience. So anytime you face a guy like that, our approach is to always make them volume scorers. If they get their 20, 25, you want them to do it, on a bunch of shots. Last week against Sims, we weren't able to accomplish that. And as I said in the postgame, part of it was my fault. I probably didn't game plan for him enough. He hadn't been playing quite as well. And then he obviously put on a show in the Pan Am, giving us 31 on very limited shots. I think he was 9 for 11 for 3, and he got in one of those zones that scorers do. But Nick's a terrific player and certainly has our full attention, and we'll try to do our best job on him.
I know this is your first year in the conference, Coach, but you're almost through your first year of the league play. Obviously, you've mentioned it too. This is the best year the WAC has had under its current membership, which goes back, I think, 4 years now. So what are your impressions of the WAC, now that you've kind of almost been through it for a year?
It's typical of most conferences. Everybody laments how tough their particular conference is and how hard it is to win, especially on the road. I've been impressed with the quality of coaches that I've got a chance to know, and certainly I knew some of them, some better than others, but just because of the industry. But everybody's been really good, and everybody works hard and prepares their team. And I think the biggest thing that sticks out is it's been a long, long time that I've ever been anywhere where you have the Wednesday to Sunday travel and playing Thursday and Saturday. Is hard. It's really hard, and you've got to really watch what you do in those weeks in terms of mental fatigue, and certainly physical weariness comes into play as well. But in terms of the overall, 10,000-foot view of the WAC, I would think that probably the thing that sticks out the most is just the adjustments that you have to make during those weeks when you have the 2-game road swings on Thursdays and Saturdays. And for us, there's usually connections involved, and the travel is pretty time-consuming. So that's probably the thing that sticks out the most.
How critical is a tune-up game, if you will, tune-up game this weekend with the WAC sitting just a few days later on? Because the level of play in your third season of a season, you have non-conference, you have conference, then you have postseason. How critical is the level of play going to just jump up that you need to be prepared for? Because that's what they're going to be coming at you with. That's what you're going to be coming at everybody else with. And the game on Saturday is that tune-up for the level of play you'll be expecting to do.
Yeah, we're not looking at this game any different than any other game, to be honest with you. It's not a throwaway game. It's not a tune-up game. It's another chance for us to get a win. You know, if you look at it that way, why even play the non-conference portion of your schedule if, this game is meaningless because we've already won the league and we're trying to prepare for the WAC tournament. So we're going to game plan like we always do. We're going to practice like we always do. But I think the most critical part of this game is carrying this momentum that we built Saturday night, how well we played against UMKC, and like everyone, we want to springboard into the WAC tournament feeling good about ourselves and having that positive momentum. And anytime you play in a conference tournament, the stakes are a little higher, and I think the intensity ratchets up, a notch or two, and I think we will as well. I mean, certainly our opponents will be playing for the same thing that we are. And I expect our team to play as intense as they have all year long, and I expect everybody to do that.
Yeah, obviously, you guys are always going to get everybody's best shot. RGV obviously still has a lot to play for too. They're playing for seeding; it's their final home game. I'm sure you guys expect you're going to get their best shot on Saturday.
Yeah, we're used to it by now. Even me prior to coming here, with the recent success that the program has had, they've been down that road before as a program. I thought maybe the target was a little bit bigger at times this year because of our success in the non-conference portion of our schedule and the attention that our program and this team had received with the bigger wins that we had earlier in the season. But the thing that I want our guys to be mindful of in this going into this tournament is they're going to take our best shot too now. The stakes are higher, and we understand what we're playing for, and it's time for those teams to worry about taking the Aggies' best shot. And we want to have that kind of attitude going into this last game and going into this tournament that we talk a lot about, the target on our back, but, our eyes on the prize, and we've got to dig a little bit deeper and have a little bit more focus and a little more intensity and understand that it's important that we play our best.
Coach, is it especially gratifying professionally for you to come into your first year here and continue the success this program's had over several years? How is that for you?
It is. That's a good question statement because even in junior college, the programs that I had inherited were programs that hadn't had a ton of success in recent years. So this was different, to take over a program that had a lot of recent success. Especially in the conference tournament, is a different kind of pressure. It's a different mentality. It's you're human. You can't help not to know what this program means nationally and what it means to this incredible fan base, and we're certainly conscious of it. You can't do anything about it other than continue to teach and coach for the best of your ability and try to prepare your team and put your players in the best position possible. But certainly it feels good to have achieved one of our goals. Winning a conference regular season championship means a lot to any coach because of the grind of the regular season. But at the same time, in most leagues that are one bid leagues for the most part, the stakes are higher and the average fan is always going to remember who made March Madness and how they do in the NCAA tournament and did they make the NCAA tournament, and it is what it is. I mean, I can sit here and talk till I'm blue in the face how important our regular season championship is and was, and it is, and it's a chapter in this team's book. But at the end of the day, what most people are more concerned about is can you make the NCAA tournament and can you win games in the NCAA tournament, and we're certainly aware of that.
The pressure is always there. It's just always there. It doesn't really let up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the industry we're in, and players and coaches have to understand that that's just part of what we do, and we don't really talk about that much. I'm not sure how each individual player deals with it. We really try to focus on the process of each individual game plan, and then obviously during the games try to play our best. We don't talk about the grand scheme of things very often, other than once in a while in the middle of a season where I think it's necessary. We might talk about where we're at and the meaningfulness of each particular game, but it's just something that I think athletes do. I mean, how they handle it internally is an individual deal, and certainly as for a coach and a staff, you've got to be able to handle that situation as well.
Has this team met expectation, short of expectation? How would you characterize that? They have more to prove. There's more for them to do.
Again, I'd leave that up to you guys and the experts to tell us if we're meeting expectations or exceeding expectations. I think, because of the circumstances and the roster being in flux majority of the spring and summer, that there were a lot of question marks for our team. I had a lot of question marks for our team. So I think we've competed pretty well for the most part. I think we've won our fair share of games and won our conference championship. So at this point, I like where we're at, but I think the biggest games of the seasons are yet to be played.
Was there I know we talked about after Thursday, just you guys weren't the same team, but but Saturday it seemed like you guys were back to that. Was there a spark with the guys? Obviously you guys were coaching them to try and find that. Was there a spark within the team with the guys to kind of go back to the way I guess things were during non-conference?
Not that I'm aware of. I felt really good going to the game. I shared it with my wife and a couple friends around the program that I felt like we were going to play well on Saturday, just because of the mood and what had transpired with the road swing and the losses, and then not playing as well against Chicago State when we expected them to respond to the losses like they have earlier in the season, to play really well after a loss, which if you look at our numbers, analytically wise, we've had great responses to every loss we've had all year long in terms of our productivity and how well we played, and we didn't against Chicago State. But at the same time, I don't talk about this with them, but I mean, we're human, and they know what Chicago State's record was. They knew who they were playing. It's not like I could, make it seem like we were playing the Lakers that evening, and it's human nature to maybe not compete quite as hard or play quite as well, even though we needed it. So, I knew that as well, but I just really felt I didn't have a crystal ball, and I'm not right every time, but I really felt good about going to that game, that we were going to compete and play more like we were accustomed to seeing our team compete and defend and rebound and show that grit that has made them, a very good basketball team. And I think that our confidence is back as a unit. I know our staff feels better heading into this week and playing our final road game of the season and getting ready to get on a plane and go to Vegas and obviously play for the right to go to the NCAA tournament.